In this video, we will be talking about distributive property and combining like terms. Okay, so if I were to give just like the expression 6x plus 9 plus x plus 5. Right away, we can combine. So we're going to be using combining our like terms. We have two coefficients. So both of these are using x. We have the exact same variable, so we can combine these two together, and that would bring us with 7x. And we can also combine 9 and 5 because they're both constants, and that would give us 14. So plus 14. We have simplified this right over here. Usually now it's a lot easier to work with, simplify. Now we could also be having another expression. Remember, a difference between an equation and expression is that an expression does not have an equal sign and an equation does. So right away, the ones I'm giving are examples of expressions because it doesn't have an equal sign. So right up here, I have 8 times 10x plus y minus x plus 12, and let's do plus 1. Now this is a lot. This is a little bit more overwhelming. Now there are a lot of differences. And now first of all, there are more than one variables. And now I have negatives and positives. What I mean by negatives and positives is that we have 8 times 10x, okay? Then we have a plus y, and then we have negative x. This technically would count as negative x, even though it's like minusing x. And we have pluses and x. So when we're going to be doing combining, what I would recommend is start with your variables or constants. So right away now, we have two to be looking at. We have 10 x's and y's. So what we can first do is we can multiply this together, 8 times 10x, and we would get EDX. And now we can do is we can bring in the plus y, what we had before. I can't minus because I don't know the value, so I'll keep the minus x. And I'll keep the plus 12. And I'll keep the plus y. I went in order. And I start with 9 because I can't really add these two together right over here because I don't know the value of them. But I can do 8 times 10, right? Because that wouldn't change my answer. If this number, let x equal 2. If it was 8 times 10 and 2, and I keep this, right? If I have 82, that would give me 160. If I did this first, if I did 20, 8 times 20 still gives me the same exact thing. So we could multiply, and so can we divide. But why can't we add these two or minus these? Because we don't know the value of them. Same thing goes with here. I can't make this 12x, so you can't do that. Now what we can do, now we can actually start combining our terms together. Now what we're going to do first is we will go in and we're going to circle in our x's. And also when you have a negative sign or positive sign like in front, it's better to circle it. And I'll box in my y's. I'm also boxing the plus y. You want to, oops. Okay, and now we just have now we are left with just the constant over here. So what we're going to do is 80x minus x gives us 79x. Y plus y is 2y's. And it's positive. And we just bring in the plus 12. So what you have to do here is it's better you have to circle the operation, because this is a negative x. So you have to think of it not as a minus x. You have to think of it as a negative x. So you have to circle that negative sign in front of it, or else you're probably going to get confused and mixed up with it. Now we've done quite a few combined. Let's also do a couple of examples of distributing. So I'll just go on to the next page. And let's do... Okay, when you have to just... Okay. If this is your thing, these parentheses right over here, indicate that I can use a distributive property. Because when there's a parenthesis, this just really means you put that dot there if you want. That would just mean multiplication over here. So really indicating multiply. And I can always simplify. This is called distributive property. And I'm gonna do is I'm gonna erase this part, and I'm gonna put these arrows. And these, you don't have to put these arrows, but I think it's best because it keeps you organized and you can know how many numbers. So right now we only have 2 numbers, but when you have multiple numbers inside the parentheses, it is best to draw those arrows or loops. And 4 times 2x is 8x, and 4 times positive 1 is 4, so I'd put that plus 4, because if there's no sign in it, it's positive, and that's what we get. Now let's do another example. Now let's do 2. So this one's going to be a little bit different, and you'll see why when we do the thing. Now we have, this will actually require us to do both combining and distributing. When you notice right away, okay, I can also combine, I can also distribute. It is, you always distribute before you combine. And what I mean by this is right away you see, okay, there's 2 y's. I cannot start combining my terms unless I have first distributive. So I'm going to distribute. I'm not going to go over here. I'm not going to do that, because you only do until what's inside the parentheses, and you're going to get 2y and plus 18, because 2 times positive 9 is 18, and you're going to bring in whatever it is. Now I can start combining. I only have 1y. I don't have that much combining to do in here, so it's going to be a lot easier. So 2y plus 11y gives me 13y, and I'll just do plus 18. So this is your final simplified expression. Let's do a couple more. Okay, let's go to the next page. Now let's do 13 plus 7 and 4 plus 2x. Okay. First, I know you can already see that there are constants, but remember, you always distribute before you actually start combining your terms. So here are my parentheses, and I'm going to take the positive 7, and I'm going to distribute over here. So I'll bring in the 13, and positive 7 times positive 4 is 28. And so positive 7 times by positive 2x is 14x. You times 7 by 2, and you just bring the x. Now I can combine, and that would just be pretty much just the constants. And that gives me 41 plus 14x. Okay, let's do one more. Number 6, let's do x plus 4 in the parentheses 2x plus x. Remember, you would always combine actually before you can you always distribute before you can start combining. And this one is, again, pretty straightforward as well. Positive 4 times a positive 2x is positive 8x. And positive 4 times by x, remember, this is a 1 in front of it. So 4 times 1 is 4, and then I would just bring the x. I can combine my x. Actually, I can quite all of this. So and that just simplifies to 13x. Let's do one more, but this time this one's gonna be a little bit different. And this time I'm actually gonna include a negative sign or a subtraction. So this way you get familiar to both of them. Okay, now again, same rules apply. First you start distributing. And this time, this is like, you can put that positive sign if you would like, if that helps you, but positive 6 times by positive x, that just brings me to just 6x. 6 times negative 1. Remember, this is not 1, it is negative 1. So 6 times negative 1 is negative 6. And now let's do, and then we would bring in the negative 4x and plus 9. Now I would start simplifying, start combining it. I would circle 6x, and I'm also going to be circling the negative 4x. Now these are just a constant. So what's 6x minus 4x? That will bring me to 2x. And negative 6 plus 9, if you're not too sure about doing negatives, adding between negatives and negative integers and positive integers, you should probably check the video you've done by adding negative integers to positive integers. But this would just bring us to positive 3. Positive 3. And it's a little bit confusing, but if you think on a number line, we would have, let's say, I'm going to start with negative 6. We have the negative 5, then we have negative 4, we have negative 3, we have negative 2, negative 1, 0. I know this didn't make it that big. And I'm going to make it up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if I have to add 9 to it, I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1 unit, 1 unit, 1 unit, 1 unit. They're each worth a unit. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that led to 3. So that's it for this video. Hopefully this video helped you. And in the next video, we will be talking about factoring.